Hey guys, tonight we're wandering into the shadows of ancient Rome. So, dim the lights, settle in, and let's drift together through the city of marble and mud, where emperors wore gold crowns, senators bragged about virtue, and everyone else was just trying not to starve. Now, Rome liked to imagine itself as orderly. The Colosseum thundered with cheers, grain fleets arrived from Egypt, and the baths were buzzing with gossip and olive oil. But, of course, beneath all that respectability was a thriving underground. Because if there was ever a law in Rome, you can bet someone was already breaking it, preferably while selling the broken pieces at a discount. The black markets dealt in everything. Stolen jewelry, smuggled wine, counterfeit coins hammered out by forgers who probably had terrible lighting. Slaves were even sold off the books, despite slavery already being the empire's favorite pastime. And then, the weirder things, cursed goods. People actually paid to dump their supposedly haunted trinkets, while black market dealers turned around and resold them. Rome was built on superstition, but it was also built on resale. Gambling was another favorite. Dice games were banned, which naturally meant everyone played them. Hidden taverns ran betting tables for gladiators and chariot races, and when losers couldn't pay, debts were settled in creative ways. The Senate thought this sort of thing was corrupting the youth. The youth thought it was Tuesday night fun. So where did all this happen? Mostly in Rome's less glamorous neighborhoods like the Suburra. Officially, senators liked to pretend they'd never been there. In reality, it was full of brothels, taverns, and little stalls where you could buy anything from cheap perfume to shady love potions that were basically watered wine. Everybody knew it existed. They just politely looked away, as long as no one made a fuss. Food, of course, was big business. Grain and olive oil were tightly controlled by the state. If you didn't qualify for rations or if shipments ran late, smugglers had you covered. Grain was stolen straight off the docks and sold in back alleys, while exotic luxuries, spices, rare wines, oysters, slipped in through bribes at customs. Roman elites loved to lecture about discipline while drinking contraband Falernian wine at their banquets. Medicine found its way underground too. Herbs, imported resins, and strange remedies were sold outside the official market. You could pick up a lizard tail for a fever, or a potion that promised eternal love but was probably just spiced vinegar. And of course, poison. Technically banned, but very popular among wealthy women who had, let's say, domestic concerns. The Senate occasionally tried to root out poison scandals. Demand never went away. And then the art market. Rome adored Greek statues, which meant endless theft and fakes. Collectors liked to brag about their treasures, while half of them were probably carved last week in someone's basement. Coins were counterfeited constantly. Officials condemned the practice, then turned around and quietly did the same thing at the imperial mint. The line between crime and policy was about as thin as a bronze coin plated in silver. Finally, there were the darker trades. Unofficial slave markets where desperate families sold children without records. Captives smuggled home from wars sold quietly for profit. And prostitution legal but heavily regulated, which naturally meant dozens of unlicensed brothels, offering whatever the official ones couldn't. Rome liked to boast of moral discipline, but the shadows told a different story. So in the end, what was Rome's underground really about? Not rebellion, not danger, just business. It kept people fed, entertained, and occasionally poisoned. The emperors strutted, the senators lectured, but it was the whispers and bargains in the alleys that kept the city humming. And that's the thing about Rome. On the surface, it was an empire of law and marble. But underneath, it was held together by shadows, bribes, and a little creative corruption. So, tonight as you drift off, remember, the glory of Rome might have been carved in stone, but its survival was written in the soft murmur of the black markets. Quiet deals, dim taverns, and bread traded under the table. The empire of order powered by whispers.